Gopal sir, am I audible?
Very much audible, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Gopal Singh sir, good morning sir. Manjunath.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Okay sir. Audible, whether it is audible or not, I was just checking.
Yeah, it's very clear. Very clear.
Okay sir. Thank you sir. Thank you sir. Good morning, all. Naren sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So, good morning, participants. We'll start in another 1 minute.
Sir, you are audible, sir. 100% audible, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Good morning, one and all present here. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all for the 6th day of 1 week online FTP on research methodology for social sciences, tools, techniques, and practices.
Open ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
I, Manjunath S., Assistant Professor, Department of Business Administration, Vidyavardhaka College of Engineering, Mysuru. I take this opportunity to welcome our beloved HOD, Dr. PSV Balaji Rao sir, for today's session. So I welcome you, sir.
Good morning, Manjunath.
Good morning, sir. I would like to welcome Dr. Lakshmi P. and Dr. Somshekar IC, resource persons for today's session. So I welcome Madam and Sir. And I would like to welcome all the members of organizing committee and participants for today's session. So before we start the session, I would request all the participants to mute their audio and video of their gadgets to have better bandwidth and clarity, and do not share the screen in between. And to give a summary of yesterday's session, yesterday Dr. PSV Balaji Rao sir, HOD, Department of Business Administration, VVC, Mysuru, he started the session by giving valuable insights on questionnaire design and development. Later in the afternoon, a hands-on session was taken by Dr. T. Narayan Swamy, where he demonstrated correlation and regression analysis using SPSS. Today we have two resource persons with us who share their knowledge and expertise with us. So first, it gives me a privilege to introduce Dr. Lakshmi P., the first resource person of today's session. Dr. Lakshmi P. is specialized in marketing management, and she is a gold medalist in MBA from the University of Mysore in the year 2005. She has been awarded doctoral degree for the thesis International Tourism in Mysore Cluster and Evaluation from University of Mysore in the year 2015. And she got guideship under VTU and currently guiding 2 research scholars. Dr. Lakshmi P. has been teaching for over more than 13 years. She has a rich experience in teaching various courses in her domain area of marketing specialization, such as consumer behavior, services marketing, business marketing, digital marketing, and continuing the further research in the field of tourism management. She has presented and published 21 research papers at various national and international conferences and journals. She has attended more than 20 faculty development programs and workshops at various national levels such as IIM, Tiruchirappalli, and international levels, including 1 workshop and 1 conference at Singapore Human Resources Institute, Singapore. Madam has also been appointed as member of Board of Examiners for the year 2017-18 at VTU, Belagavi, and shoulders few roles and responsibilities of her various committee assigned from both college level and university level. Adding to this, she is also a life member of Indian Society of Technical Education, ISTE, and member of AIMA. In today's session, Madam will be giving insights on modern tools and techniques of data collection. We are honored to have you here today with us, Madam. Now I request Dr. Lakshmi P. to take over the session, Madam. Over to you, Madam. Madam, your voice is not audible, Madam. Lakshmi, Madam. Now it is audible.
I hope. Okay.
Yeah,
So thank you, sir. Thank you, Manjunath, sir. And even I would like to thank our HOD for giving me also an opportunity to go ahead as one of the resource person by sharing my knowledge with whatever the things that I can do with. So I thank both of you, sir, for giving this opportunity. And let me continue with the session. So I welcome all the participants for the program for today's event, where I'll be discussing on what is modern tools and techniques for data collection. Sir, I hope my slides is visible.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. It is visible.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay. So as already been informed about the topic that I'm going to discuss today, we are going to look in with what are the modern tools and techniques of data collection. So let us look as a research scholars or a person who is willing to pursue the research for your career further. There is a last scope for us to look in with what are the chances of doing our PhD or any research activity where you might have all these days gone through the activities which our other resource person have shared a lot of information relating how to start your research. So starting from the point of your regular activity of identifying why you want to conduct a research to identifying the problems that have been coming up with and how to end up and what is the better opportunity you get after completing your PhD or any research activity, irrespective of the field that you are existing into. Looking into that, one major topic, okay, that has to be very seriously taken care along with all the activities that you conduct is one such topic as data collection. Why data collection is so important today? As you all know that you proceed with any research activity, the first and the foremost concepts that comes to our mind is who is the respondents and what were their input, and on that how are you going to turn your research and give some input to the society which is required for it. So keeping this in mind, we thought, okay, with continued part of all the other resource persons who have shared their valuable knowledge along with contributing to the research, I'll be discussing little information about what is data collection and why is it so important and what are such modern tools and techniques that we are going to use, which makes your work more easy in identifying the right person to send your forms and collect the information feedback. So quickly let us brush with what is the concepts that is going to be taken care in today's activity. So just you can see a huge data flow which runs from starting research problem identification, review of literature, research design, which comprises of the other parts which is next to it. Finally, you can see something in red in color, okay, which has been the highlighted topic of today's topic, what we are going to discuss with. And along with that, the next further part, maybe by today evening and tomorrow's program, you'll be completing with your research for 7 days FTP program, which will give you a thorough information about how your research has to progress with. So this is the flow where you first identify a problem. So irrespective of the area you are into as a faculty or a research scholar or some person working in an organization or trying to a marketer, maybe more of marketing examples because I'm into this specialization. So anybody as such, you are now trying to concentrate more on why a research has to be done. So you may start with identifying a problem on which you need to give a solution for it and conduct a data collection related to it. So there is a chance where first and foremost, I think all other have spoke more into the detail of what is problem identification, how do you pick that, and how the further activities of knowing what is the area, the thrust or the core area on which you want to progress with, you will be moving on to the next topic. So once you are more willing to do a particular research on one particular area, okay, where you are very sure that this is the problematic area which have been identified on which the research has to be continued with, you need to now check with a lot of literature that has already been done. That is literature review, or we call it as review of literature. So what is this literature review? I hope even this has been dealt. One of our resources has also helped you out in identifying where these resources are available and how easily you can make an option of collecting such information, irrespective of the years that it is into and the branches they belong to. So keeping in all mind of this, review of literature is going to be taken care. So once literature review is done, you have one concept, you come into a conclusion finding what is research gap. So this particular research gap is going to give you an idea of what has actually been done earlier and where is the scope for you to continue with your further of your research activity. So for this, you are going to identify what such gap is been now finding, which will help you to further progress with your research activity. So there you start with designing your research, and where exactly when you know what is your problem, you will be well defining now your objectives, and added to that. I've not gone into the very depth of all topics that are to be covered under your research design, but yet let me, because you have already finished these topics, I've just put it in bulletins where you can get to or refresh all the things that you have learned from last 3 to 4 days, almost 5 days. So you're going to frame your own objectives, followed with hypothesis for that. And you also get in with the concept of what is your sampling techniques, the size that you want to use, the unit that you want to cover with, and how do you want to proceed with. So all these things are going to be decided under your sampling technique. And you also try coming out with a research. So till yesterday, you have learned about how you are going to go ahead with your questionnaire designing, scaling part of it, and how you are ready for the collection of your data. So today is the next procedure of your research activity, which I'll be taking through the data collection tools and techniques. So I've just kept it as red in color. And once doing this, you will be aware of where and all you have the sources of collecting information. And once the information is being got back, you collect the data, you proceed with the data analysis and interpretation. Why data analysis and interpretation? So any data that you get, you're not supposed to keep aside as such by telling this is the information that I got it. No, you have to now draw the inferences of it and come out with your findings, which could give a best solutions or suggestions for the company for which you're working, or your own thesis, where you want to justify what was your findings of your particular thesis or the research activity that you're running with. So for that, finally, you have to go ahead with writing and reports. And this is where we call it as the report writing, which comprises of all your activity onto a documentation process, which has its own value. And the next person will be talking about all these things in the coming sessions. So today's section, let me start up with what is data collection, tools and techniques exclusive. So again, let me not get in too much of what is types of research, but with an example, let me go ahead with continuing how this research is going to help you in analyzing what type of data from whom you have to collect with. So first you think about what is qualitative research. Hope you have discussed everything in detail with the earlier sessions also, and also with quantitative research. So I'll just put an example here so that you make a clear concept of how the data collection or the questionnaire has to be further followed with, if irrespective of which type of research you are going to follow with. So first and the foremost, you're talking about your qualitative research. And that particular, I've just given us 2 simple examples, where if you are a marketer and you want to come out from your organization talking about new ideas for product extension. So you already have an existing product, which has already been used by the customers outside your target consumers. Now, only the point is you want to change something out of it. So what is the product A? You want to make it as product A1. So if this is the chance, now you need not have to come back every time to the customers into the field, and with some expertised person, that is the focused group, you have an option of conducting an survey, that is the form with very less number, and you can go ahead with finding the solution for it or the answers for it. So there is a chance where you need not have to get into the mass and collect the information. One such again example is concepts for the future promotional campaigns. Again, if you want to continue with your promotional activities as such, how you want to develop it or how you want to reframe it or change it as such, you can now again sit back with your own people whom you call as an expertised, of very less in number, and you can quantify it. Whereas the second one is quantitative research. Now there is a chances where you want to know more about how people try to behave, that is your consumers try to behave regarding the product and services that are being rendered to you. So maybe if you have something like in a mind to conduct a research related to know how do the people buy my particular product, how oftenly they use my product, or what is the requirement from my product, and what is my total population, and within that what is my market share as such, or within that who is the total number of consumer who very oftenly regularly buy my product. So somewhere I need to understand their behavioral aspect and check what is the format that they are expecting from the product or the services that I'm rendering. So now I have to go with a detailed structured questionnaire and as well as collect the information from the vast population. And for that I segregate what is my sample size and go ahead with conducting the research activity of collecting data. So first make it very clear with whether you are going to follow with the qualitative research and quantitative research. So depending upon this, you will be making things much easier down the line to decide how your research has to be further progressing. So now coming to our topic, okay, the day of the topic today is the data collection. So what is data collection? Why is data collection? So as the name indicates, as modern tools and techniques for data collection, let me first not directly jump into the modern tools that have been helping us to collect the data back from the customers. Let us first also see what are the concepts that are to be taken care, okay, before you start with collecting your data. So some theoretical aspect also which will guide you, help in how better you can collect the information or the data later on is what we are going to discuss here. So what is data collection then? Data collection is a process of collecting information, right, from the customers you are trying to get the information. I may use the word customers, but it is absolutely with the respondents here. So now the respondents are going to give you the information what you are searching for, what you are wanting for. So that information may be irrespective of the tools that you use, they are trying to provide you. And what is the reason behind it? As soon as we go with a questionnaire or we go with an interview, what is the need of the day for a person as a respondent to answer us back? So there must be some reason behind it. So what is that information and where are we trying to collect? This is most important. It is not only the respondents whom you search, we also see who is the other sources where we are going to collect the information. So first and foremost, it is to see that you find the answers to the research problem, that is your whatever the problem identification you had and what is the want of the day, and you are conducting a research, you need to get the answer for it. How far people are understanding or how far people are behaving towards your product or services, or how far are they knowing about your topic, what you are discussing with. So all these things you want to know from your respondents, and to justify how good is your research, one has to go with data collection. Again, what type of data collection, etc., we'll discuss later on. So first is to get an answer or a solution for your problem. Next is testing your hypothesis, because I've already mentioned and others also have mentioned that once your objectives are being framed, you also have to go ahead with the hypothesis which you are going to prove whether you should accept it or whether you have to reject it as such. So now is the chance where with whatever the objectives that you had and the hypothesis whether to agree it or not, to go ahead with that or not, exactly a data collection and the information what you draw from that and the measurable quantity, the numbers what you get will make your way very easy further. So this is where the data collection plays a major role, because ultimately whatever we do from our end, it is one shot, and the next is, it is none other than the respondents who plays a major role in giving their opinion, a true and frank opinion regarding the questions that you have been asked, which definitely helps you down the line in your research work. So the answering part, finding the hypothesis and testing with it and coming out with a conclusion for it, everything depends upon how good the data collection has been taken care of. So next is evaluating the outcome. That is where I said you want to evaluate and you want to justify, you want to explain your findings and tell what best can be done or give a feasible solution for the person who is asked for this particular research that has been conducted. Everything now depends back on your data collection that you have been got from. So this is where I say data collection plays a very, very major role in your research activity. So what is data collection? Why is it playing so much of importance? Then what is that you need to check upon? So you might have gone through. So if any chances of conducting any small research or your project, anything as such, you would have come across with what is research validity and what is research reliability. So you have again a test where you will be understanding or making with the numbers again to check what is the research reliability. Whereas what is validity that you need to check. So how far is your questionnaire good enough to collect the relevant information? And how far is the respondents who have given the information is really good enough to provide you this information, who has given very frank and detailed information that has been required with you. So that is where the research validity is going to be checked upon, where even there are chances where organization or the person who's going to conduct a research has the chances, okay, of even sometimes calling back the person who is into the questionnaire filling and checking back that how was the information that he has drawn with, because it is not just that I get the questionnaire and I go with further, but I need to see also how much is that the questionnaire being filled is effective in nature. So there are chances where once we collect, we have all the possibility of checking back, that is, we want to validate how strong or how good is my research, that is the data collection that has been done. So one point of your research validity, whereas I said you can cross check with them, or you can pose few questions regarding the questionnaire and the set of questions what you had, and just cross check with what were their answers on the questionnaire and what is that they're trying to express, which gives you a clear cut information about whether they have very seriously filled upon with the questionnaire, are they the right respondents who have filled up your respondents, and when did they fill this particular questionnaire. So all this information would be very aptly collected back from them, only for the purpose of your reference, where to prove that the questionnaire, what I have been rendered and the data that have been collected is more valid in nature. And next one is research reliability. So this is again one test that is going to be conducted with the number itself, where you are going to check with what is the reliability that you can rely on the questions what you have been framed, and how good is it going to get you the information once it has been filled back. So the test goes with 0.6, that is out of 10. If it is 6, it is the starting point where you can rely on it, where it is good enough to start with. Even if it is much better than 7 point or 8 point and above, your questionnaire is absolutely good, where you can start going with continuing the research activity. So to know this, how good is your questionnaire and how is that the data collection which is going to happen is going to serve you down the line, always make sure that your reliability and validity is good for your data collection. So taking this into consideration, we try moving to the next concept of what are the different data collection methods. Absolutely, everyone are very eager to know about how do we collect data. It is none other than only two different ways of collecting the data, which talks about what is secondary data and what is primary data. Now the concept is, why is that there are two different types of data that has to be collected, or how often you as a researcher, okay, always make or think of taking a secondary data for your study, or irrespective of primary data only for your study. So this is where one has to be very clear in choosing what could be your data collection method. Further on is your tools and your techniques that are you going to use, where very first and foremost information is that you need to check with whether you can proceed your study, okay, or your research what you are conducting through only secondary data which is available, or is there a real chances of conducting a primary data which gives you the first-hand information and proceed with, which has more validity in nature. But never I say that secondary data doesn't have invalidity, but yet you will be getting your information exactly for the purpose of your study. So this is where the concept of deciding which research you are going to do on what topic and what is the relevant data that you have to conduct with. So I can just quote one example here. When I was working with the tourism topic on my research, one of the paper that I had to go with the research was related to secondary data. So whereas the primary thing, I couldn't only go with secondary data and complete my research. That doesn't serve any purpose. But whereas when the 2014 tourism policy was renewed, and I had a chance to again go ahead with revising that and coming out with a paper which I exclusively said it is an empirical study, because it was only depending upon the secondary data or the information that from the tourism department had been forwarded with Ministry of Tourism. That information was being taken into study. So now, before you people proceed with data collection, ever you have to think first and foremost to make it clear which data you are supposed to go ahead with. So which method of data collection you need to follow. And why secondary data or why primary data? Secondary data, it talks about it is statistic, okay? That is the information already available. So anywhere, any information that you want to collect with. Very simple with respect to you want to give an example of that you want to look in what is the sales that has been happened, or how many customers have dropped out from last year to this year. So some simple information that you want to collect as such, which is already readily available in your organization itself within the sales invoices and your sales department. There is no chance of the requirement of you again coming out of the organization, entering into the field or entering through online modes and collecting the information. So such concepts which are already being readily available is where we call it as the statistics or the information which is readily available. Next is with respect to the collected for some other purpose. Absolutely, any secondary data you are going to use it for your purpose of study, that doesn't become your purpose of conducting a research, because it's already available. That would be a piece of information for you which you can make use of it. But look into the consideration that it has already been collected for some other purpose which might have served somebody other's purpose of research activity. So look in that whether the information that you are drawing with, how much is it good, valid for the time being for what you are trying to collect that information. So keeping this in mind, remember you can still even take the help of secondary data in doing certain research activity for data collection. And as I already mentioned, it is not for a particular study. That means that information of census, if I give an example, census is where you are going to try to know about the population, and that population people are being now providing what is their income level, what is their population within them, education level. So now the information that has been created over there, or the concepts that have been understood under the census, can be taken for your reference if you are trying to conduct a study of what is the income level and what is the spending level of the customers on a particular product. So if this is the case, now they have been collected to know what is the population and the other information that has been drawn, which a part of that information you are going to draw for your particular study. Maybe as I gave you the variable of what is the income level and the spending level, so that if people get so much of income, your particular product, assume it is a luxury product, how much are they ready to spend over it? So looking into this consideration, it is not exclusively meant for your research, it is for some other purpose which has been done, and now only you can draw the inferences of it and go ahead with your study. Next one is primary data. This is very, very important again, especially people like us, if we are into social science and we want to know or more understand about the people psychology or the marketer psychology, we always depend on, maybe even HR you go with the primary data collection, where it should be originated by the researcher himself or herself. That means if you are conducting a research, a study related to any of your topic, what you're doing, now it is the time for you to pitch in and see that you collect the relevant data according to your requirement by yourself. So there is a chance where you're going to look in with how a researcher is going to collect the information. Next is with purpose of immediate investigation. So you're very sure, make sure that whatever the information that you're collecting here in the form of researcher, you're trying to link that information. So you're very clear that what is your study related. As I said, objectives are clear, hypothesis has been framed, and you know who's the sample size, who's the sample unit, and exactly you're trying to collect the information from them, and the same you're going to investigate and come out with a result for it. And absolutely this is the first-hand information for a specific study that what you are trying to buy. So keeping this, let me give an example of a company with respect to one of the product here. So why even a company as such can also think about going with secondary data or primary data information. Now as such, if I want to go ahead with knowing about the demographic features of refrigerator, just now I was giving you example of income base. Now I need to check with how are the people going to buy the refrigerators depending upon their income. So what sort of people are ready to buy a refrigerator is one of the company which is trying to go ahead with an assumption. So now a company has a choice in front of it where it is trying to see how they determine and whether the last time customers who have purchased the refrigerators from them, or what is their income level, or what was the sales that had happened depending upon the list of the customers who have purchased from them, or you want to know why exactly the customers are trying to buy our products of this particular price. Okay, so that just recollect the concepts that I explained about what is a qualitative research and quantitative research. So I want to clearly mention that, or I want to just go ahead with see why this particular set of customers having so much of income is only trying to manage to buy this, or is there any chances of fluctuation in income makes a difference in the behavioral of purchasing of a product, is what another side. Now the same company can come out and conduct a research where they need to now collect with primary data. So if they want to just look in with one set of demographic data, they can look in with whatever the sales report that they have from last year, their sales that had been happened for the last time and continue with it the same, and also go ahead with analyzing what could be the next sales asset. If they do only within the organization with the available, the same company is trying to now use the secondary data. Coming on to the other side, if the same organization plans to come out and see that what are they determining, so why or who buys this. Okay, if such information are to be gathered from the mass outside, then we consider that to be as the primary data. So where are these sources for primary data and secondary data available? So as I said, these are the modern tools that you can keep everything ready and go ahead with collecting the information. But where is the chance of collecting that information, or what are the tools that have been used for collecting such information? So before that, let me quickly go ahead with, as I said, with the same example like what I discussed in the last, where a refrigerator company wants to see how the consumers are trying or planning to buy refrigerators. Okay, that can be done either secondary data or coming out primary data. So what are the sources for collecting such internal data and external database exclusively for secondary data? So first and foremost, we can just run with the annual reports of that organization, either the sales invoices, which are very apt information, which tries to give you the summary of what is the sales that has been happened with, and also the customer database, just to know that who are your customers, since how long they are working with you, and their personal details of them, and how long they are purchasing, and are they frequent buyers of you. So some set of detailed information about your customers are already being maintained by your MRIS today, or customer relationship management, or marketing information system, which all put together have its own set of collecting or accumulating the data of every customer that they have, which has been called as the database marketing. So this is exclusively within the organization. What on to the next? If not the organization is enough the information what you're going to collect, but yet still you have the scope for further moving to the next option, and yet again still that should be your secondary data only. Then there is a chance of the list what has been given here, where you have an option of checking what are the relevant information you can still try to collect from the different sources mentioned here. So I just run through with what are the sources, external database that have been available in collecting the information of any other relevant data. Could be from the published sources or unpublished sources. As published sources, it is already ready, which you can make use of the information when you open it. So that source is, or where you call it as published sources. Whereas unpublished personal sources is the information is ready, but maybe very hard and fast rule, you have to go ahead with paying for that information, and it should be the willingness of that particular company or that particular organization who is ready to render you this information. So even this could be a part of organizations which work in collecting the information back for you. And absolutely any organization today, you have the access for websites that you can log into and look in with whatever the information that you want to collect, and go ahead with collecting the relevant information. And journals that are being available. So coming down the line, I will show you what are the other journals also for managing your data or the secondary data collection that is going to happen. And newspapers are again a source of your data collection. And again, I'll be showing you what are the few very good newspapers which gives you especially the concept of your business, economy, sports, tour, leisure, etc., which gives you an idea of that could be also taken. And once you log into it, you have a lot of information that you can draw for your purpose of your research. In a very fast mode of your social medias. Today, you also have a concept of blogs that are being created, and blogs are being exclusively meant where a person writes something on it and tries to share a lot of information about the existing products and services also, which has been utilized for the purpose of collecting data. But still, as the part of the external database we use as blog also, but completely we cannot rely upon the blog. I'll come back to the next thing where I'll tell how much are we safe in collecting this secondary data also. I just want to tell one point before I move to the next one. Blogs are used as one of the external database, but it is now how much you write about the product or the services or any information that you are writing on. you're posting on, that depends upon sometimes about the manufacturer and the products and the link that you have, or the interest you have towards that particular product might be making you to write something good or even something bad about that product. So majority of the time, though it has been used as one of the external database, but we have to still see how safe we are by using or drawing the inferences from the blocks that are being created. And next is the government records. Already I gave you one example of your census that the information can be collected, and down the presentation I'll also be giving one or two other departments which will try to help us out in collecting our secondary data more useful. So any ministry you enter into, you log into, you get a lot of information. Maybe assume you are working with respect to income tax, or you are doing a research related to income tax. Now you have IT department exclusively, Government of India, where you can try or make an attempt of collecting the information through their websites and login IDs. Whereas at the same time, you have other published sources or unpublished personal sources where this information is being tried giving by other marketing agencies also, but which has more frequency of relying on that particular source is most important. So I'll come back to that also. But as external database, you can still use your government records as one of the very official external database. And last but not the least, today, because as I said, we are into more of internet usage, people moving to library is very, very less, but yet still library is also one of the source, because lot of information is also being available in library, and that library can be both online and offline as such. So this could be your sources of your secondary data where you can try searching for the information. Just now I said, like, how is the accuracy of the information that you are going to collect? This is most important, because we are collecting secondary data, and that information what you draw and you finalize, you are going to get something in the name of findings. Out of that you will be suggesting and you will be inferencing something, and you say this is your final conclusion of your study. So how good you should rely upon that, because I already said data collection depends upon your validity and reliability. So how does your validity and reliability gets into the concept? So how good is the sources that you have been picked up with? So one has to give more importance towards this particular area also. So what such area of your accuracy can be measured for your secondary data? The very first one is sources, purpose that you are serving with, and the quality that it has to match with. So what is the source or the purpose or the quality related back with? So first and foremost, let me explain with what is sources that we are talking about. As I have given just one example, now I said it is the government records that it speaks, okay? So Statistical Abstract India is one of the Ministry of Statistics, Government of India, which gives a lot of information related to the statistical references. Now, if you pick the information from that, because anyhow, when you draw any information from any source, you have to give the source, you have to mention that source. But when you say it is from so-and-so government institution, organization, now people trust that that is the best information or the right information that you're going to get from. So there, any secondary sources that you refer from, it is now just an example where you quote it from Wikipedia or you quote it from Government of India. So what is the source that you have got from the information? That will have more the weightage. So look always the right sources through which you can get the right collection of data. Next one is with respect to what is purpose. So what is the purpose of conducting this or taking the information from this particular secondary data has to be evaluated. So I've given one example again here as Indian Medical Association, okay? So there was a test conducted related to how is your junk food, okay? Let me not name which is that or which company with respect to that. So it is just a study which I want to say what is the purpose behind it, because when I state junk food is not good for health, as a layperson, if I try to tell this, people may not accept it. So they need something in the form of sources, which gives you a statistic figure of what is the number of percentage who have used this and what is the drawbacks of it, or how is that it is going to put an hurdle to your health in the coming days. So if someone can justify that, okay, and you can bring that information into your research where you say this is the so-and-so information that has been got into, and this is the right source from which I have picked that information, which has given this particular data of using any junk food is going to badly affect your health. Okay, if that has been justified, then your purpose of picking that as a secondary data and giving a conclusion is going to be served as such. And finally, the last one is the quality of it. So what is the quality? Why quality also plays a major role in secondary data? Because as we already know, this is not the first-hand information that I am trying to collect for my purpose of study. It was already been collected by somebody else, or it has been collected long back and saved in some sources, and we are trying to make use of it today and come out with our own conclusion. So I need to check if I'm collecting the data which has already been collected by somebody and already placed for some other purpose, how is it going to match with me? So there, one topic again we have to look as the one of the tool for collecting the secondary data is how quality you are trying to collect that information from that particular source. So there we talk about the quality. And the example given here is with respect to Income Tax Department of India. I mean to say that this is a first-hand information where you're going to get any information related back to income tax and the concepts that are going to be changed every year of the tax procedure and how the updates are being given. Parallel to this, there are also organizations which goes back in collecting the information related to income tax related to it. But now, my assumption or my explanation of the point here is when you collect with the relevant source of the department, your quality of work will have more weightage rather than any private source who is trying to give you the same information where they have taken the sources of information and provide you as the next person. So first-hand information, even collecting your secondary data is also most important here. So what is the source from which you are picking that information? What is the purpose of it? And what is the quality of information that you draw from them is most important. And that will show you the accuracy of what secondary data you have to proceed with. So for this, the secondary data plays a very important or the major role in continuing with your further study as such. Coming to primary data. So by this time you got to know that why secondary data has to be collected and what is the information that has been shared by the secondary data, what are the sources that you can opt for, and even with that source, when do you feel you're more accurate and people give more weightage to your research depending upon what sources and all that has been picked. Now the point here is, after having so much of information where people already exist with lot of information in the form of secondary data, is it still necessary or mandatory for us, okay, to continue with the primary data collection? Yes. Here is the chance for us, especially with the science, social science background people who are trying to understand. I have just, you can see on the slide, I've just mentioned as behavior. So I need to learn a lot of things from the behavioral aspect of why people behave so. Okay, so what are the concepts that I need to understand here, which keeps on fluctuating? Okay, which keeps on fluctuating and has a drastic changes that is going to happen from one end to the another end. So what is such information that keeps changing? And I cannot rely upon the secondary data which was been given long back or very recently also. The individual perception keeps changing. Your awareness and knowledge keeps changing. And your intention of buying something keeps changing. And the concept of motivation, what made you to buy a particular product or services, keeps changing. So if this is the case, I have an option now open for coming to continue with primary data where I myself exclusively enter in and collect the relevant information what is required for me. So there we start with collecting some information related to demographic and social economic characteristics, followed with the psychological and lifestyle characteristics. So what is your values or what is your lifestyle? What is your area of interest? So every person vary from one to another. Now I cannot just keep the calculation what has already been done by the secondary source in the form of statistics and approve the same for my study also, which may not be possible, which keeps changing. So there we need to understand about what is attitudes and opinion of the customers. So why are they willing to buy this particular product or why they are not willing? So I can just quote with one example here as one of the country with the Coke, when it went directly with Diet Coke, people did not accept it. So what was their opinion or what was their attitude towards rejecting that product? When a brand can sell everywhere very good, but a particular country, why when it is named as Diet Coke, okay, why didn't people accept it? So what was their attitude of discouraging that product or not entertaining that product? So there might be some reason behind it. So again, we want to know why did the customers behave so? Why didn't they buy the particular product also? So there is a chance where you have to understand what is their attitude, opinion, aware and knowledge and intentions, and why. Because exclusively when we go with the subjects, you can see the 5 rating scales that you find. Willing to buy, deny buying, are you satisfied, or I strongly agree or strongly disagree. This will all tell about what is your intention of buying this particular products or intention of not buying this particular product. And even motivation talks about why or what within that particular product made you to motivated to buy. Is it from your external side, your internal, or from the external point which made you to an attempt of buying this product or rejecting this product. So many issues are going to be taken place where a researcher now feels to enter into the primary data and collect a lot of information related, which is a first-hand information which has more value for his research activities. So coming to just like very quickly and sharp, where we discussed about what are the internal sources and external sources of the secondary data, there is the same concept of sources of your primary data also. That means primarily if you want to conduct a research, send a questionnaire or any other modes that you want to use and collect the information so that quickly it helps you to analyze and go with the interpretation part. Then what are such different sources of your primary data, which is very, very important. So primary data goes with different techniques, what we have been mentioned here, where it runs with focus group interview, observation, questionnaire, personal interview, experiments that are being conducted, and sometimes even your projective technique. And that projective technique, it is just blank with green in color as such, because there are chances, I'll tell you, when you are entering into the questionnaire part as a respondent, okay, when you are a person collecting the data, you are very eager to see that your questionnaires are being filled and quickly you start with your next procedure. But put yourself into the place of a respondent, and every person when they come and give you a questionnaire or send you a mail requesting for filling up this particular questionnaire, tell me frankly, how many of us make an attempt of filling it by looking into it very detailed and give them the right information? So in such cases also, we should find some alternative, and for that reason is one unstructured manner of questionnaire or the data without showing any inferences, so that looking into that one should feel, okay, what is this related to? So for that, projective techniques are going to be used. So I'll come back to that. Let me quickly first focus with the major topics that are to be covered under your sources of primary data set. First one is focus group interview. That is where again group of expertised. Just now I said if it is qualitative research that you want to do, and you need not have to get into more number of people, and you want to get the expertised information as it. So you have a chance here to get into the focus group interview, where the normal tendency of 6 to 12 people or 10 people maximum group together, and a moderator is available, where whatever the concept or the topics that you are trying to conduct a research and collect the data back from it, you are trying to get that within on one particular table. Or chances, if it's the chances where you cannot meet back together on a particular table, you can send it through mail across or anything as such, but yet still you find these are the right source of person for collecting the information, and you consider them to be your focus group person, and you collect the information from. So one set of primary data collection. Next is observation. This is very, very important, yet very less that we go ahead with again, because mere observation may not give you every time a very good results as such. So you need less number of research that you're carrying out with. What, as I said, what type of research that you're following with, looking into that observation can be done. But yet observation is also one of the primary data, where I can quote you one example here with respect to the concept called as mystery shopping. So if a person, I want to see how my customer are trying to behave at a particular hotel when they visit, how are they feeling about the hotel and its facilities, and how do they behave, especially the employee with the customers as such. So I need to understand all these things, where I need to keep an eye in the sense, it is not eye in the sense, but I say it is the mere observation. Sometimes knowingly We inform that you are going to be observed and the things will happen, or even sometimes unknowingly, which has been a controlled and uncontrolled group, we are going to observe it. So an expertised person. So all these things have been taken care again back by the observation of people who are very well equipped with their facilities to observe and draw an inferences of it and give a detailed report related to that. So for that, observation can also be used as one of the primary data. So mystery shopping, what I mentioned was as such very simple. If I can quote it even into the level to make you more clear is, if a particular new faculty is being recruited at the teacher level, so one person within that particular group may be also playing a role of a student and sitting in the class where the teacher might have been informed that you'll be observed, or sometimes even without informing them, as a student without any information, he or she could have already been sat in the class and the teacher who is going to present over there will be observed as well. So this is also one way of your primary data collection, which can be used for collecting data relating to the research or the concepts what you are going to discuss with. Next is with respect to questionnaire. Again, we have discussed yesterday, sir has given you the detailed description of how questionnaire has to be designed. And now the matter is here, the same questionnaire, either through personal or through online, you have the possibilities of sending it across and get your questionnaires filled, which has a detailed set of questions, which gives you a number of information, huge information, when the respondents willingly give you the opinion regarding it. Next one is personal interview. So how is this personal interview going to happen? Again, as it said, it can be sometimes face-to-face, or it can be over phone, telephonic interview, or you can make use of mail. And today we are all very opportunity with getting the all e-resources where we are trying to meet each other from all different places, or the part of words also. So such is the concept in the personal interview also. You can either meet them personally, go ahead with asking questions and getting your data collected, or other modes also you can make use of to see that personally you contact them and get the information. And next one is experiment. So again, experiments also can be part of your primary data collection, because you want to prove sometimes, especially this will hold good with the research concept as casual research activity, where you will be talking about how the experiments are going to exactly prove, because you might have seen sometimes within certain advertisement you say that 7 days and a person was being put under experiment. After 6 months of experiment, drinking this malt or the milk powder, students who were under, children who were under the control of this particular product have grown up height, and the others have not shown that instant growth in their height. So all these things comes under your experiments which have been conducted, and that is going to be drawn as your primary data set. And finally, the last one is the projective technique, as I said, because when people still feel that, okay, this is not very useful to us to fill all this, instead of going with the regular and a formal structured questionnaire, we may go with techniques such as completion of word completion test, or it can be something like role playing. So when they put their role themselves into a particular role, and how do they behave, you will be in a position to analyze, okay, this is what is going to happen and what the person or the respondents is feeling about the product and services or the research topic, what you are trying to convey. So keeping this in mind, there are certain sources, as I said, with the broad view, okay, you can use looking into your type of research, what type of source you can use for your primary data. Now coming with very important, before I start with the tools that we are going to discuss with, what is actually the every tendency of human is to see that we do the perfection of perfection in work, but yet there are chances where we may also go wrong. So same as such, there might be chances, type 1, type 2 error, I think you might have observed in your hypothesis testing where another resource person spoke about it. The same as such here also, we may go wrong at the time of collecting data as such. So what is this collection of data, especially chances of going wrong, which should not actually happen for our best results of the further progress. So first one is error in the field data. That is when we personally go and collect it. Maybe sometimes it could be intentional and it can be unintentional. So that can happen from two different ends. That is field worker error. That is the person who himself is voluntarily entering in and trying to get the information. Maybe at that particular time, I as a researcher may not go to a right respondents, or I may ignore certain things and just half the way fill with something, the information what has been required. So something on the end of my side as a researcher, we may go wrong, which should not actually happen, and both intentionally and unintentionally. And second end is, it may go wrong from the end of the respondent also. So what is the other way of respondent's error is, as soon as you just go and give a particular questionnaire to them, and you are trying to explain them about what is the questionnaire that you have been given with, what type of research you are conducting, irrespective of whether they are the relevant person to render you the response or not, sometimes there are chances of people filling it up. So this is where we say it may be an error, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, yet error do happen, where that whole questionnaire what has been filled may not serve you any purpose down the line for your calculation and other reasons. So this is where we say, one, you should be very careful at the time of your data collection, especially when you're trying to collect it at the primary source. Next is with respect to errors in online data collection. Again, as I said, when you enter into field, you have certain errors. And with today, we have more of possibility of entering into online data and collecting information. Again, there we have multiple submissions. That is same person trying, because I'll show you what are the tools through which you can now create your own questionnaire, the templates which are already ready available, and you try sending across to the relevant person. But there are chances where you can see the same person might send you back again with the multiple submission. Again, there is possibility today where we say only one respondent is supposed to fill it. So we also try to do as a researcher to avoid these type of mistakes. Yet when there are more number of multiple mail IDs of the same person, we cannot avoid much as such. Next is a wrong respondents. Just like field data also, even online also, there might be a chances where I may not know, or I may not be the right person to fill this particular, but yet because the researcher who is conducting the research is my friend, and he is talking something related to the employee and any other aspects, I feel, okay, let me fill one question immediately. So this should not actually happen when we go with your online data collection, or as an error, it should not happen. So if you are only the relevant person, then only please go ahead with filling the data. And the last one is population misrepresentation. That means sometimes we target in such a way that, especially online data collection, it is only sent to the person who is well versed, who is equipped with this type of online data matter. But what about the customers who are using the same product even much better than the person who is using it through the online mode, but they are not in a position to enter into the online mode, and you never collect any data from them? So this is where we call it as population misrepresentation, because we ignore the session of collecting data through the online mode. So that could be also one of the percentage where we say chances of error happening could also happen in the online data. So coming to the topic, so giving you a brief introduction about how data collection is important, or what are the different types of research that you have to first and foremost look into before collecting the data. And followed with, we have also discussed about what are the sources and why primary is important or why secondary is important, and what such data errors can also happen. And trying to avoid all those things, we will look in with now what are few tools and techniques that are being available to collect your primary data as well as secondary data. Okay. So looking into, we have the concept of tools and techniques. I hope you would all have come across with what is Google Forms, okay, which today has given us a wide scope, okay, in going ahead with collecting as much as information that we want from the respondent. So how quickly is this Google form is going to help you out, and how you are going to frame the information that you, questions that you want in the form of answers, whether it is one single short note answer, whether you want a long text, or whether you want a multiple choice based question, or you want the scaling rate of questions, irrespective of the concepts that you are going to go ahead with. Okay, there is a chance where we are going to look in with the Google form, which has helped us a lot today in collecting the information. So let me just quickly browse all this and show what are the available tools for you, and how quickly you can try using or making the sense of collecting the information here. Okay, I'll not be just rushing with all the questions and anything as such. So everything I'll try putting in front of you and showing what type of questions that you can get and how you try getting the information. So this is where an untitled, it's going on. No, I was just opening it. Okay. So here is with respect to the form that you can quote whatever the description by telling your research has been done for so and so purpose, and you request them by giving a form description by telling that this is the research for this particular purpose. Just a minute. Ha, sir? Agtilva. Nodi? Nange illi share ಆಗ್ತಿದೆನಾ? So ಇದೇ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲಾದು ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ಟು ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಂಡ್
now it is screen share ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಓಕೆ
So no need to go anywhere. ನೀವು ಆವಾಗಲೇ ವಿಂಡೋ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ.
ಓಕೆ ಸಾರಿ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಇನ್ಕನ್ವೀನಿಯಂಟ್. Yes. So I was discussing about what is the form that we can use, the different types of forms which helps us in collecting the primary information. So once when you open as such, you get the information, and I'll just discuss with this, and very similar to this type of Google form only. The rest what I'll be showing would be one and almost is the same, but I'll be showing you what are the different forms in which you can try collecting your questionnaire details, okay, or sending your questionnaire and creating your own questionnaire and sending the questionnaire for collecting the database. As such, so it is just one example which I'll be taking about on creating or the I'll just show you with one of the sheet which has already been ready so that it would be easy for a discussion. Okay, this is just an example which I'll be showing you with how a form has been created as such. So this was one of the program that was gone with what is the role of digital marketing in business. So now how do I collect that information, or how do I make the customers or whom I am sending the flyer to immediately get back or respond to my question? So there we went with using the form, that is the webinar, and this is actually the questions which has already been done, and where the first and the foremost information you need is the name. Okay, then you go with designation. So from which organization organization they are from, or from which place they are. So every time you type, you get an option over here, and you say whether you want to go with the adding a question. So you will have one more option of adding next. And you want to import questions from any other sources you want to get that information. Add title and description. That is, as I already mentioned on the top, you're going to give this title and content. Once the Google form has been opened, you will be in a position to fill as much as information that you want to share. It is just like when you go with a hard copy of questionnaire to your customers, you will be giving the same information onto here. So this is where you can create now, post all your questions from the questions what you have already kept aside from the questionnaire onto your Google form, and you have only the form of sharing this information with the relevant sources where the data is available for you, to whom it has to be circulated with, and you can go with the concept of what is being visible as sent. Again, that will ask you about with what the link that you are going to send, and when is the respondents time given, slot given, within which they have to respond back. So if you are in a very urgent to collect it back, you can specify that even within what day, and later after that the respondents will not be received back. So all this information can be shared by putting in this type of questionnaire with respect to the Google form. So any questions that you have been framed, irrespective of whatever the multiple choice questions you have been based, or long test or short text you have, any test of evaluating from the strongly to strongly disagree, or willing or not willing, every information is going to be taken from the questionnaire, and it will be posted here, and you can look into that. This is where the untitled form, this is the new form, and depending upon the questions what you share, like if I say as name, that will be definitely okay. So here you need not worry about the name. So it is not multiple choice question. You can quickly immediately go ahead with short name. And next again, you can keep adding as such, where you get an options, short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, check boxes, or drop down options you want. So I hope Google form, and to make it very clear, Google form you can make use of it for the free of version, whereas the others which I show is where you have to pay for it. So keeping this in mind, I will be moving to the next option. Okay, just very similar like type of your Google form also. The type form is one more primary data collection, where you again have an option of collecting data by sending the questionnaires. So once you log in into this, you will be getting again the details related to how you are going to enter into this particular type form, and the information has to be shared as such. I'm just not logging with you. So you'll be giving your information related to this, and as soon as you provide your email ID and your password with agreeing with the concepts, you will create your own free account as such. And that free account, if you enter in and log in, you will get templates that you can use, or you can directly create your own questionnaires according to your requirement of how the information should be collected. And why I've split these two as separate, because once you look into the just Google form and type form, you will be knowing how the questionnaires are being put onto the print, is been drawn into the forms, and you go ahead with giving the information. But one difference between the other things are where the form plus Jot form, Survey Monkey, Survey Sparrow, and Zoho Survey are also the same format of your Google Forms, which exactly helps you out in collecting data through your questionnaires, what you send through online. But these are all paid version. So initially, you will get at least minimum 14 to 21 days of trial version. So once you get the trial version, you have the possibility of immediately going with getting your things done as fast as possible within that 14 days and wind up. Or if not, then you have the premium basis, where those premium basis you have to pay the minimum amount to make use of the services of these particular forms as such. Okay, I think there is some trouble where it is showing some problem with respect to the mail ID which had been logged in, and it is showing as a password wrong. But yet, I would like to say here is that the forms which you are going to open here, this also have an opportunity of making use it for 21 days, which is of the trial version, and you can go ahead with using for that particular number of periods with the trial version. And if you use, yes, you can go ahead with finding it convenient very quickly. You can pass on the same information to the relevant sources where you want to gather your information, collect it back, and go ahead with proceeding your forms further. It's the same with Jot form. So every home page, when you just click in with, you have the options where it will say very clearly whether it is paid or how long you can use it for free version also. And according to that, you can run with the aspects. So create a form. So again, as I said, Google form, what we have been shown, it is from the scratch you can start with. This is where, again, the questions that you're going to type with as full name, if you want to give the question. So any options that you're searching for. So you need not have to every time type every information into the box here. So what that is the information that you are trying to pull, you can just make it here. So get that information available over here, and you can start putting your questions in the form of and submitting it, which gives you the information back again. Conditions, and then you go with the publishing matter as such, where you're going to use the preview forms. That once the questionnaire is ready, the forms which you have been formed in the manner, it shows you with respect to the questionnaire what is ready to send for the respondents. You can go ahead with sharing this link, and just like how you send the other emails and other form of contents to the relevant person, you can see now what are the other forms through which you can see assign form or directly to the email, and you can see any changes that have to be done, and then go ahead with sending it. So again, Jot form is also one which is to be paid and free version for few days initially. I hope few might have already been come across with what is surveymonkey.com, and very similar to that, you have also one of the other concept which calls as what is Survey Sparrow. have to create your own email ID, log in, and you can sign up with it. As I said initially, you can go with free, but later on, this is how when you search for the tools, okay, for search for the home options as such to collect the data collection, you would also be getting the justification of whether what is the premium that you have to pay. If not free, how much every time you have to pay with. So looking into this, only if at all you find that is very immediate, urgent required, then you can go ahead with this paid version, or always you have an option of going with the free version of what we call it as the Google Form or the Typeform, which is more suitable for using it. Plans and prices and rest of them. Very similar to your Survey Monkey, we have one more concept as Survey Sparrow also. So as I mentioned here, as soon as you open, very quickly it will ask for your sign up, okay? And once you sign up with the same information, you will get a pop-up by telling how could we help you out and what are the inner concepts of helping you out. So there you can see how many days you can use this as a free trial and get your things immediately done. Okay, so this is with respect to what is Survey Sparrow. And it talks about what are the concepts or the solutions that we are going to get with. Once you open and enter into that, you will be in a position to post all questions from your questionnaire and send it across to your respondents. And one more is your Zoho survey. There is some problem with opening this Zoho survey. Again, this is also same as such the Google Form and Typeform. It also serves you with the same purpose of collecting data. But as I said, all the rest which has been below mentioned, okay, those are all your paid version, which without payment things will not happen with them. But at least you can make use of the services for the purpose of serving the free version and getting used to know what are the different sources available in collecting the data. But most frequently used and very easiest way of collecting the data is through your Google Form or your Typeform. Other than that, I could just quickly browse you with all these things and show it with what are the other sources. And again, with respect to secondary data. So that was with primary data, what the examples were being given, where you yourself will be drawing the questions, okay, dragging and putting onto the question forms. And after that, you are going to use it in your questions by sending that to the respondents and getting it filled back, where you get back the responses and you work on it. But how do you go ahead with secondary data collection? So there must be some tools and techniques again back with identifying what are your secondary data collection. So this is where you have database on Indian economy, that is DBAIE. So any information related to the background of RBI, okay, or any financial information that you want to get, that is the GDP rate or something like that. So such information has been now drawn in this particular force. Okay, so we are now into the website of the database on Indian economy. And here is a chance for you as a secondary data that just now I was telling about what is the source of information that you have been collected, how authenticated it is, and how or what is the quality of the information that you have been collected. So one such information that we can give here is like when you see the indicators and you want to get all the information about the RBI data, you're now running with Reserve Monkey or GDP that I gave you one simple example as such, or you want to know about what is the further information related to. So you are now going to log into this website, try to connect whatever the information that you want, and an authenticated information is readily available for you, which you can next download and take it for your purpose of further study. So how many years of information that you want, related to what industry that you want. So this is all in the information available. So as such, you have different keys, indicators on which the available information can be drawn exclusively for your information as such. So this could be one of your secondary data information that you can draw, which the database is already been available, and you get lot of information related to the financial aspects. And next is with respect to marketing database India. Just now, as I said, you need to get the information about GDP, or you need to get the information of any other financial position or the institutions or the organization itself. As such, there is some other information also that can be drawn from your marketing database India. So you want to know something about an organization, exclusively about advertising or media related to. So how do you try in consolidating the available information? Because now when you enter into this website homepage, you can see that you have to select the industry. So how are you going to select the industry? Today, you should be very clear by knowing once you want to begin with your research, you are very well assured that you are going to do a particular research on this particular topic, which belongs to this company or which belongs to this particular industry involved. So now I'm going to just pick the concept of advertising media. So I need to collect the information about advertising media, and I need to now check with how many advertising agencies are there available in a particular area where I'm trying to conduct my research, and how am I going to draw that information from them. So again, is it all through India, or you want to pick only few particular places, exclusively nearby places? So now if I want to pick Bengaluru, okay, so you are now reducing the content of your availability of companies all over with respect to the advertising media to confining it to only Bangalore city. And next, what is the sector that you want? Whether you want an advertising which is related to government or private or public. So just I'll take about as private sector, filter it. Okay. See, now you can identify quickly what are the available company information, so that once you click on to that, how many are there, you can get to know, especially in Bangalore city related to your marketing. So you can move on to every pages where you get lot of information of the companies related to advertising and media only. Now is the chance for you that what information you want to collect from this particular company. Now, if you are going to make a study as 5 advertising and media companies and their comparative study. So this is the right source for you, where you start and begin with the information what you want, and further you can continue with your activities of collecting data as such. And next is newspaper and magazines. As I said, this is also one of the very traditional mode of collecting the data as such. I will show you a few newspapers and with respect to their website addresses. And before that, before I move to the next with respect to newspaper and magazine, let me also give you one more such information where you can collect lot of company and industries database in the source called as Capital Line. Okay, so once you click this Capital Line, you have the option of continuing with what is the company, okay, which company you are searching with, or you also have an option of directly talking about the industry, the house or the person. That means, as I gave you an example of advertising and media industry, I need to now check from the same industry here. So what I can go ahead with, which industry I'm searching for, I may look in with the example of advertising. Okay. So let me check with something like air conditioners. This is related to the industry of air conditioners. If I click go, okay, I get to know about what is the different air conditioner activities here, okay, and which are the companies belonging to that air conditioner activities as a such product. Or I can just click you the example like telecommunication. Telecommunication services, and I click as go. Okay, now I get all list of telecommunication companies which are going to discuss about their statement of financial, followed with how are they listed, whether they're listed or not, and finally what is their statement, the financial information that you want to get. So all this information is going to be shown. You can see onto your left hand side which talks about company, industry, and the live news that is being required, or the recent information that has to be updated. Every information of the financial year, especially for the last 10-year information, is going to be readily available for you. And you can take that statistics for your further study or research. Okay. Now I've just chosen as telecommunication. Within that telecommunication, if I choose, okay, if I take the example of Reliance Communication, okay, now you have the chance here to look in with all other details of that particular company in detail. Okay. So any information that you get, the financial information that you get, you can see a bar over here which gives you an option of exporting that Excel sheet to your required information portal, and there you can do any further activities that are been related by taking the information which is already readily available in this particular database. IPO, house, industry, company. So as such, any individual industry that you want to check in with and any individual company you want to check in with, this is how the concept runs through. And followed with the next one. I hope these particular information, let me not log in and show you with the database as I showed you with the capital database or the DBEI. These are the well-known magazines and newspapers, especially for the business people and the research scholars as such, and the researcher who are very much keen interested into. Go ahead with knowing a lot of information what is happening in our day-to-day life, and that information what you draw will definitely help you out in your research. So relevant, as I said, if you are into advertisement, you have an exclusive concept in the particular newspaper which talks about how the advertisement and its sector is trying to develop and what is the resources back behind to that, which helps you to give some insight for your research. So these are well-known newspapers and magazines which gives you an option of collecting the relevant data. As I said, newspaper and magazine is also one of the data source. This tools, if you follow with the link, you will get a lot of information related to what you are searching for. So exclusively, just like library, as I said, even newspaper and magazines can be a point of your source of information. So we have listed here with respect to Business Line, Business Today, the Live Mint, and Business Standard with Economic Times also. So you can also see with respect to other access which are useful for you. As we said, data collection sources, we thought we'll just share you the extra information related to how e-resources for downloading your journal articles and books are also going to help you out, because you need to collect a lot of information. As I said, literature of review. Okay, when you want to collect that literature of review, again, you have to search for the data where and all it is available. So there are chances where you can use the Google Scholar, the Academia, Spring, Emerald. Okay, with this following, you will be in a position to log into the information, and once you log in, you can give the wide scope of what is the area that you want to enter in and what is the information that you want to log in from. So for purpose of collecting information, maybe not very exclusively directly from the respondents I'm talking here, but this is also a part of your data collection with respect to the literature review and other things. So I thought this could be one useful for you as the beginners for your research topic. So with this information, the piece of information, whatever I had, I have shared you with, and I hope I've done justice for the time and the value that you have been given throughout patience hearing for the last 1.5 hours. And I thank you all, the participants, for your hearing, patience hearing. And also I would like to thank Manjunath sir for sharing this session with. And also I would like to thank our HOD, principal and management for giving me an opportunity to discuss and share the little knowledge, whatever I have related to data collection to the gathering over here. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, madam, for your valuable and detailed insight on primary and secondary source of data.
Thank you,
So
sir.
there are few questions which has been posed by the participants. So
Sure, sir.
we will. Madam, first question: whether paid form is effective or unpaid form is effective?
Okay. That is the reason I said, sir, if a researcher is always willing to do the research as fast as possible, or maybe he doesn't want to waste much of time, then absolutely paid form is good, because they give you the option of templates also ready, which you need not have to spend much time on it, because I couldn't open here every individual and show you. But as Google form, the same similar with the other paid form also, where you have the option of getting template, which makes your work more easy. But every time I support not to go with the paid form, so that you will be paying from your pocket. Take your time and go with an unpaid ones.
Okay, thank you, madam.
It again depends upon the researcher and their requirements.
Okay. Then one more participant asked, can we export the questionnaire directly without copying each question from the Word document? So can we export? Can you show a demo that he has asked for a demo?
Okay, I think because it is not opening here, so I couldn't go with the demo here, sir. But I can tell him that whole questionnaire you cannot pull it to the form here, sir. But individual questions you can do it, because it varies from one question to another. So good for the person who asked this. The point here is individual questions, what you are going to get, you can put it into the questions which is relevant to that person. So whole of your research topic cannot be pulled here, if I'm right. Okay, ma'am.
One more question on, there were two questions on projective techniques.
Okay.
So one participant was asking, may I use projective techniques for collecting data in qualitative research? And one more participant asked, can you please pour some more light on projective techniques in an elaborate?
Sure, sir, sure. To make it very clear, sir, as I made it a point there, when you actually come with the respondents, when a researcher comes with a questionnaire, sometimes we feel hesitation to go ahead filling. Being a research scholar or being a PhD guide, I should not tell this, but yet, because time is so precious to everyone and I go with a huge questionnaire, they feel, should I fill this? Or they may take some time just to put the tick mark and finish it off, which actually should not happen. For this purpose only, as I said, all the top 5, sir, the screen what I had shared with scope, focused interview, questionnaire and all those things, to go with all those need a structured format, sir. Okay, whereas the projective technique is more basically unstructured form of collecting data, one. And as somebody asked as a participant, very good question, it is more focused towards qualitative research on this, where I'll be conducting a research, I'll be telling how projective technique is going to use. When people are not willing to give me the information, direct with the questions when I ask, do you use this product? How effective was this product? So they may not answer. For that, what I do, I use some other way in collecting information. For that, I may use like role playing, giving you a chance of expressing yourself, what you feel about that product, one. Or I may make it even more interesting for you that I will show you some half-filled pictures, okay, something half-painted or the half-completed sentence, and I ask you to complete the other part of it. So now they may come out with the actual fact and figure what they have to say by filling that sentence in the word what they actually want to tell. Maybe they don't want to express it, but now if I give an incomplete sentence, that sentence they'll complete it, which is a true information which comes out. Maybe on face like questionnaire, they don't want to write so many things. So such techniques are being used in projective techniques. Especially this is for qualitative research only, major being focused.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam. And
Thank
there was
you,
one more question where the participant is asking, because of passage of time and change in society, secondary data and primary data may differ.
Yes.
So what is your suggestion for the researcher who starts research?
I was very clear, if I'm right, I was very clear that every time we cannot only depend upon the secondary data, sir. But your study should analyze very first, is your study okay with only secondary data what is available? Then quickly go ahead. That was the reason I gave my own example of my research work only. When I went with the research of tourism, there was a new policy of tourism 2014, where it came out with what are the policies, just like our new educational policy, what came out. And now if you have to write a paper and conduct a research on this, if you're only focusing on policies, okay, you're not doing anything on that. You're not even asking the respondents whether the policy which has been made change, that is the stakeholders, whether it is useful for you or not. No, I'm only looking what are the policies and how it is going to benefit. I'm quickly writing a paper and doing some consideration. Then definitely we need not have to enter into a primary data and collect information from the field. This is the time short period which I can finish my work and submit a paper or a research on it. But I want to see what is the impact of the policy that has been changed. Maybe because of new education policy, it has been changed 2020. Is that going to affect any of the stakeholders on the other end, either the teacher or the faculty, that is students, or any other person? I need to collect. I have to go for primary data. My research will not end at that point.
And one more last question we'll take, madam,
Sure.
where participant is asking, when we search the articles in Google Scholar, since it is one of the source of data,
Okay.
there are a lot of articles which is available only in the form of abstract, where we cannot download lot of full papers. So
Yes, sir.
is there any suggestion for that? That is what the participant is asking.
There is no other suggestions. If I'm right, I'm not exactly into that, but I can tell you, if the abstract, if they're given very point, it is only for abstract, then you don't have the option of opening. So you have to search for the papers where you can download the full PDF or the full paper of it.
Okay. Thank you very much, madam, for
Thank you,
your valuable insights on data collection methods. So,
Thank you,
thank you, madam. And I thank all the participants and organizing committee. The feedback form will be sent in the chat box, so you can fill the feedback form, because your feedback is very valuable. Thank you very much for the session, madam, and I thank Dr. PSV Balaji Rao sir, HOD of this of our department, for giving me an opportunity to moderate this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.